everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I plan to read in the month of May, and I have some pretty exciting announcements, so make sure you stay tuned until the end. I don't typically do TBR videos because my TBRs are usually pretty flexible throughout the months. I'm very much a mood reader, and so I like to be able to allow myself the flexibility to switch it up and not stay stuck to a set of books just because I say they're on my TBR. But May is an exciting month. I have some exciting reads planned and I have some exciting announcements that I wanted to share on my channel in some way, so I decided to do a TBR video this month. I know a lot of people also like TBR videos, so let me know what you think. Would you like for me to continue doing TBR videos even if I don't always stick to the TBRs, or are you kind of impartial and you don't really care either way? Definitely let me know. But I've got an exciting month planned for May. I've got a couple arcs that I'm really excited to get to. I've got some books that have been sitting on my TBR for a bit that I'm excited to get to, some new releases I'm excited for. So let's just jump on into it. First up, let's start by talking about some arcs that I'm excited to get to this month. If you don't know what arcs are, they are advanced reader copies, so it's just when you get the opportunity to read a book before it is published. And the first one that I have is Magpie by Elizabeth Day. This one is set to publish on May 3rd, so it might be out by the time you're seeing this video, but it's coming out very, very soon. And this is a new thriller that I'm excited to check out. In this one, you're following this couple, Marissa and Jake. They are the perfect couple, and they have this woman coming to live with them named Kate, who is coming to live with them so that they can get some extra income from renting out some extra space because they are getting ready to start trying for a baby and they want to add a little bit of income to their lives. But Kate starts getting a little too involved in their relationship, a little bit obsessed with them, and Marissa starts trying to figure out who Kate really is and if she's trying to ruin her life somehow. I typically enjoy these thrillers that have to do with obsession, people getting obsessed with the others, trying to uncover the secrets in their lives. So I feel like I have a good chance of enjoying this one, so I'm excited to pick it up very, very soon in the month. Hopefully I can get to it before publish day. Next up, we have The Island by Adrian McKinty. This one is coming out on May 17th, and I actually saw that it was available on NetGalley as Read Now when I initially saw it. I don't know how that works, if it stays that way or if you have to download it at the moment, but just a heads up, maybe if you're on NetGalley, you might be able to access this one as well. This is a new novel from the same author as The Chain, which I haven't read yet, but it is on my TBR and it's been sitting back there for a while. This one is about this family that takes this vacation out to this really secluded island. Once they get there, something bad happens. They end up getting involved in some kind of accident, and then the people on the island won't let them leave after that, and I think it becomes like a survival story, like they're getting hunted down. It sounds pretty intense. I think this is also going to be a Hulu show from what I have seen, which is really interesting that it would already be picked up when it hasn't even come out yet. So I'm definitely super interested in this one and want to get to this one pretty soon in the month as well. And then I have The Latecomer by Jean Hoff Corlitz. This is the same author of the book The Plot, which I really enjoyed last year. In this one, you're following this wealthy family who had triplets born through IVF. After the triplets leave for college, the mom decides to add a fourth child to the family, which is like the latecomer. And the synopsis is pretty vague. From there, it just says, what role will the latecomer play in this fractured family? It's a complex novel that builds slowly and deliberately, touching on the topics of grief and guilt, generational trauma, privilege and race, traditions and religion, and family dynamics. It sounds like this one is going to be very interesting. It's covering a lot of topics, a lot of things I'm interested in reading in thrillers. It is a little bit long. This ARC copy comes in over 400 pages and the font is kind of small, so I feel like it's going to take me a little bit of time to get through. I'm a little intimidated by it, but hopefully it pulls me in and hopefully I enjoy it. And then finally, the last arc that I hope to get to this month is We All Fell Down by Rose Zabot. This one's coming out on June 7th, and this is the start of a YA fantasy duology, which might be surprising to you. You might be surprised that I want to pick it up because I'm not the biggest fantasy reader, I'm not the biggest series reader, but I really loved the debut book from Rose Zabot, What Big Teeth, that I read sometime in the past 2 years. I don't remember if it was 2020, 2021, but I absolutely love that book and I'm really excited to see what Rose Zabot does next, which is this. It is supposed to be this dark YA fantasy duology that they are kicking off about the power and danger of stories and the untold cost of keeping magic alive. Perfect for fans of Aiden Thomas and Marie Rutkowski. I've never read from either of them before, but either way, I was going to be excited to pick up this book. It is set in a city called River City where magic used to thrive and is now fading. The witches who once ruled the city along with their powerful king have become all but obsolete. The city's crumbling government is now controlled primarily by the new university and teaching hospital, which has grown to take over half of the city. Moving between the decaying old city and the ruthless new, 4 young queer people struggle with the daily hazards of life, work, school, dodging ruthless cops and unscrupulous scientists, not realizing that they have been selected to play an age-old drama that revives the flow of magic through their world. When a mysterious death rocks their fragile peace, the 4 are brought into each other's orbits as they uncover a deeper magical conspiracy. We've got a murder, we've got conspiracy, we've got a cast of queer people, and I am in for it, and I hope that I love it. Next up, a new release that is coming out on May 3rd is Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and I'm so excited for this one. I really loved the last book I read from Emily Henry, People We Meet on Vacation, and I have been dying to read another romance from her. I don't even fully know what this one's about. I don't even need to know. Something about people who love books coming together. Is there enemies dynamic? I don't know. I really needed to know nothing about it. I just knew I was gonna pick it up. I've had this one pre-ordered, and then I just found out today that the audiobook was one of the advanced listener copies from Libro FM's program, and so I just got the audiobook today, so I'm super excited to do a little paired experience with the audiobook and the physical copy when it comes in just a couple days. And I'm hoping that I love this one as much as I loved People We Meet on Vacation, because I've had a hit or miss relationship with Emily Henry. I did not love Beach Read. I liked it, but I didn't love it. Then I loved People We Meet on Vacation, so I hope that I end up loving this one too. Next up, a book that I got for Christmas last year and has just been kind of sitting on my shelves, and I just decided, I got the urge to pick it up. I was just ready to read it, and that is The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. This is a literary fiction story, and I know Louise Erdrich has written many novels. I've never read anything from her before. I don't really know anything about her stuff. I just saw this book, I think it was in the Goodreads Awards last year. I saw it getting talked about a bit on Instagram, and it sounded like something that I would really like. I don't read literary fiction all the time anymore. I used to be a bigger literary fiction reader, but I don't read as much anymore. But this sounded like one that would be up my alley, so I decided to give it a go. It's kind of a weird book from what I can tell so far. I'm 50 pages into this one. You're following this woman named Tookie, who ended up incarcerated for many years because of a crime that she committed, but now she is out of jail and she is working at this bookstore, and there is this ghost that's haunting the bookstore that used to be this really loyal customer who would come in a lot, and she is just haunting the bookstore. It takes place from November of 2019 to November of 2020, and so it follows a lot of real life events that happened in that time period, with COVID breaking out, with the George Floyd incident happening, and it's set in Minneapolis. Yeah, it's set in Minneapolis as well. It says it is a wickedly funny ghost story, a tale of passion, of a complex marriage, and of a woman's relentless errors. But so far I'm enjoying it. It has a really unique writing style, and I'm hoping that it holds up all the way through. Next up, a book that I keep trying to read every single month, and I keep putting off every single month for unknown reasons, is Cherish Farah by Bethany C. Morrow. I've never read from Bethany C. Morrow before, so I have nothing to go off in that regard, but I have been seeing less than wonderful reviews of this book. It seems like a lot of people have been pretty bored with it, or pretty unsure of what it was trying to be or where it was trying to go. So I'm a little bit unsure of it, but I still am definitely interested in it. This says it is a new adult social horror novel in the vein of Get Out meets My Sister the Serial Killer, about Farah, a young calculating black girl who manipulates her way into the lives of her black best friend's white wealthy adoptive family, but soon suspects she may not be the only one with ulterior motives. So I don't know, I hope I have a good experience with it. I've just been seeing mixed reviews, so it's made me put it off, but this is the month that I will definitely read this book. Next up, we have The Stars Are Not Yet Bells by Hannah Lilith Asadi, and this is a book that I haven't seen anybody talking about, but I think I found it from the long list that Tor puts out every year about the most anticipated books for the year, which is a mix of like horror, sci-fi, and fantasy, but primarily horror I think is the one that I look at. So this is like a genre bending type book from what I understand. It's like kind of fantasy, kind of lit fic, kind of horror, a mix of all of those things. And I just thought it sounded really interesting and like something I could really love. You're following this woman named Elle at different points in time, and I'll just read you the synopsis because I feel like I'm not gonna be able to describe it and give it good justice. Off the coast of Georgia, near Savannah, generations have been tempted by strange blue lights in the sky near an island called Lyra. At the height of World War II, impressionable young Elle Rainier leaves New York City to forge a life on the island together with her new husband, Simon. There, they will live for decades, raising a family while waging a quixotic campaign to find the source of the beguiling blue offshore light and the elusive minerals rumored to lurk beneath the surface. 50 years later, Elle looks back at her life on the exotic island and at a secret she herself has guarded for decades. As her memory recedes into the mists of Alzheimer's disease, her life seems a tangle of questions. How did her husband's business, now shuttered, survive for so long without ever finding the legendary Lyra stones? How did her own life crumble under treatment for depression? And what became of Gabriel, the handsome, raffish other man who came to the island with them and risked everything to follow the light? Darkly romantic and deeply haunting, The Stars Are Not Yet Bells pulls us into a story of the tantalizing, faithless relationship between ourselves and the lives and souls we leave behind. This just sounds really haunting and atmospheric and magical and beautiful and harrowing to me. I hope it lives up to all of that. It sounds like something I would really enjoy. And I also like that I haven't heard anyone talking about it, because it's nice to be able to read a book that I don't have any bias going into and I can just experience it for the first time without thinking anything about it. And then finally, the last two books that I have to talk about are tied to my special announcements that I am making. If you follow me on Instagram or if you join my live shows, you've probably already heard these announcements, but in case you didn't hear, I did want to capture it in a video here somewhere. So I'm super excited to announce that I will be co-hosting two of my friends' book clubs with them this month. So I will be reading 2 books for 2 book clubs and doing live shows on their channels. First up, we have The Good Lie by A.R. Torrey, which I will be reading with my friend Jessie from the channel Reading with Jess. Her book club, the Sleep When I'm Dead book club, is all about reading backlist thrillers, and she always lets her co-hosts kind of pick what book they want to read. So this was my pick. I was really interested in reading something from A.R. Torrey, and so was Jessie. So this is the one that we landed on. We've heard really good reviews about this one, and we're really excited to read it together. TBD on dates for live shows for both of these, but I'll keep you updated in YouTube community posts, Instagram, and whatnot. So just make sure to keep an eye out to know exact dates that we will be talking about these books. But this one is about the psychiatrist, Dr. Gwen Moore, who is an expert on killers. She spent a decade treating California's most depraved predators and unlocking their motives. Predators much like the notorious Bloody Heart serial killer, whose latest teenage victim escaped and then identified local high school teacher Randall Thompson as his captor. The case against Thompson as the Bloody Heart killer is damning and closed as far as Gwen and the media are concerned, if not for one new development. Defense attorney Robert Cavan is a still traumatized father whose own son fell prey to the BH killer. Convinced of Thompson's innocence, he steps in to represent him. Now Robert wants Gwen to interview the accused, create a psych profile of the killer and his victims, and help clear his client's name. As Gwen and Robert grow closer and she dives deeper into the investigation, grave questions arise. So does Gwen's suspicion that Robert is hiding something and that he might not be the only one with a secret. Definitely sounds like something that is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I've heard really good things about this author and this book in particular, so I'm super excited to read it, and it's pretty short, so you should definitely pick it up with us as well. And then next I have The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates, and this one I will be reading for Gabby's channel. Gabby reads, her book club, The Book Troop, and not only will you see me co-hosting for that live show, but you'll also see my friend Hannah from Hannah's Recent Reads, so definitely encourage you all to join us for this discussion, pick this book up with us, and come hang out with us on Gabby's channel at a date TBD for the live show. But this is going to be all of our first experience with Darcy Coates, and we've all been interested in Darcy Coates, so it's going to be really interesting to see how we all end up feeling about the book. I feel like it could go one of 2 ways, where we either really like it or maybe we end up not really liking it. But I've heard really good things about Darcy Coates. I feel like I've never really heard anyone hate her books. I feel like people either love her books or they're like 3-star-ish about her books. And ever since reading the book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, I've been wanting to dabble in reading a little bit more supernatural, paranormal horror as well. So I'm excited to do a good old haunted house story. In this one, Ashburn House is the haunted house, and everyone knows about Ashburn House. They whisper that its old owner went mad and restless ghosts still walk the halls. But when Adrienne, desperate and in need of a place to stay, inherits the crumbling old mansion, she only sees it as a lifeline until darkness falls. Strange messages are etched into the walls, furniture moves when she leaves the room, and a grave hidden in the depths of the forest hints at a terrible, unforgivable secret. Something twisted lives in her house, its hungry eyes ever watchful. Chasing the threads of a decades-old mystery, it isn't long before she realizes she's become prey to something deeply unnatural and intensely resentful. She has no idea how to escape, she has no idea how to survive. Only one thing is certain: Ashburn's dead are not at rest. So I'm super excited for both of these. I'm really glad these ladies asked me to host their book clubs with them, and I definitely hope you all join along with us as well. Read these books with us, join me on the live shows. I'll keep you updated on the dates for those. Like I said, just make sure you're keeping up with me on my Instagram, which is just Ashley's Little Library, and I'll post about it in the YouTube community post as well. So that's it for my plans for May. These are all the books I plan on reading that I hope that I end up getting to. Some of them I know for sure I'm gonna get to. Others could potentially end up falling by the wayside, but I definitely really want to try to read all of these books this month. I may also end up squeezing some more books in, switching some things out. I don't know, like I said, I'm a mood reader, so it could always change, but I feel pretty good about sticking to the majority of those books. Let me know down in the comments below what you are planning on reading in the month of May. Let me know if you're gonna join me on Jessie and Gabby's channels to read those book club picks and chat along with us. And if you wanna leave an emoji in the comments, let me know that you got to the end of the video. Let's do some kind of flower emoji since we're really coming into spring and May. So just pick any flower you want, anything that speaks to you, and I will know that you made it to the end of the video. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.